Have you ever turned to your cat during a game and caught him staring at the screen like he actually understands what's happening? That little head tilt, that sudden flick of the tail when the crowd roars. You laugh it off, you tell yourself it's nothing. But somewhere deep down, a quiet question forms, doesn't it? What if he really is watching? What if your cat, curled up beside you, is following that ball across the field? I want you to picture it for a second. It's a Sunday afternoon. The house is quiet, the coffee's gone cold, and your team is down by 1. And there he is, your cat, perched on the armrest, eyes locked on the television. You shout at a missed shot and his ears swivel toward you. You groan and he looks at you like he gets it, like he's been right there with you, feeling every minute of it. And maybe, just maybe, he has. Now, here's where it gets strange, because most people will tell you cats don't care. They'll say your cat is just reacting to your voice, to your movements, to the noise. And sure, part of that is true. But it doesn't explain everything, does it? It doesn't explain why he sits up when the ball moves fast, why he ducks when a player kicks, why at the exact moment of a goal, he leaps up like the whole room just exploded. You've seen it. I know you have. That moment when the announcer screams and the stadium erupts, and your cat goes from half asleep to fully alert in a single heartbeat. He doesn't just wake up. He responds. Tail straight up, eyes wide, body coiled like a spring. And you sit there thinking, did that just happen? Did my cat just celebrate that goal harder than I did? You're not imagining it. There's a reason behind every bit of it. And that reason is older than soccer, older than television, older than the couch you're both sitting on. Because to understand why your cat reacts the way he does to a game, you have to understand what he's actually seeing. Not a sport, not a team, not a rivalry. Something far more primal, something buried in millions of years of instinct that we're going to unpack together, piece by piece, in the next few minutes. Stay with me. Think about what a soccer ball really is to a cat. A small, round object, moving unpredictably across a wide green field, darting left, then right, suddenly stopping, suddenly launching forward. Now ask yourself, what does that remind a cat of? What has every cat for thousands of generations been built to chase? A mouse, a bird, a creature that moves exactly like that ball does. His eyes aren't watching a game. They're hunting. That's the secret hiding in plain sight. When your cat locks onto that screen, he isn't a fan. He's a predator. And the field becomes a hunting ground stretched out before him in glorious flickering color. Every pass is prey escaping. Every sprint is the chase. And when that ball finally crosses the line and the net ripples, something ancient in him fires off. The hunt is complete. The target is caught, and he reacts. But hold on, because this raises a bigger question. If it's all just instinct, why does it feel so personal? Why does it seem like he's celebrating with you, not just reacting to a moving dot? Why does he look at you afterward like the two of you just shared something? That's the part nobody talks about. And it's the part that changes how you'll see your cat forever. We're getting there. But first, you need to know what he can actually see. Because here's a truth that surprises most people. Your cat doesn't see that screen the way you do. Not even close. The colors are different. The motion is different. The brightness, the speed, the flicker of the image, all of it reaches his eyes in a way your eyes will never experience. And what he loses in one area, he gains tenfold in another. There's a whole hidden world in how a cat watches television, and we're about to step into it. So if you've ever laughed at your cat going wild over a goal, if you've ever wondered whether he truly understands the game, I promise you this. By the end of this video, you'll never watch a match beside him the same way again. You'll know exactly what's happening behind those wide, glowing eyes. You'll understand the instinct, the emotion, the bond. And it starts with one simple question. What is he really seeing? Let's find out. Let's start with the eyes, because everything begins there. A cat's eyes are not built like ours. They're built for hunting at dawn and dusk, in that gray half-light when prey moves and predators wait. So while you see a bright, sharp, colorful screen, your cat sees something dimmer, softer, but alive with movement. He's not reading the scoreboard. He's not admiring the jerseys. He's tracking motion, and motion is where he comes alive. Here's something most people never learn. Cats see fewer colors than we do. The rich greens of the field, the bold reds and blues of the uniforms, they're muted to him, washed out. Where you see a vivid stadium, he sees a world painted mostly in blues and grays and yellows. So no, he's not cheering for the colors of his team. He couldn't tell them apart if he tried. What grabs him isn't the look of the game, it's the life of it. And life, to a cat, means movement. This is where his eyes leave ours far behind. A cat can detect motion that we'd completely miss. The tiny twitch, the sudden dart, the flicker at the edge of the frame. His vision is tuned, sharpened, perfected for catching the smallest shift in a scene. So while you're watching the players, he's watching the ball. Only the ball. That fast, round, unpredictable thing that won't sit still. Now think about modern televisions for a moment. The newer ones refresh the image so many times per second that everything looks smooth and seamless to us. But to a cat, with his faster visual system, that smoothness can feel real, believable, almost like the ball is genuinely there in the room, rolling across an open field. That's part of why he reacts so strongly. To him, it isn't quite a picture. It's something closer to prey. And once his brain decides it's prey, the whole machine kicks into gear. His pupils widen to swallow the light. His whiskers push forward, reaching, measuring. His ears rotate like little satellite dishes, hunting for sound to match the motion. His body goes still, that frozen, loaded stillness every cat owner knows. He's no longer lounging beside you. He's stalking, and the field on your screen has become his open plain. You've probably noticed how he crouches in those moments. Low, tense, shoulders drawn back. That's not random. That's the posture of an animal preparing to pounce. His ancestors held that exact pose in tall grass, waiting for the right second to strike. Thousands of years later, on your living room couch, the instinct hasn't faded one bit. The grass became carpet. The gazelle became a soccer ball. But the hunter stayed the same. And then comes the goal. The ball rockets toward the net. On screen, everything speeds up. The crowd noise swells. The players surge. And in that split second, your cat's entire nervous system lights up like a switchboard. The chase has reached its peak. The prey is cornered. And when that net ripples and the room erupts, his body answers before his mind can stop it. He springs. He bolts. He reacts harder than anyone in the room. Now, you might be wondering, is he actually excited about the goal? Or is he just startled by the sudden chaos? And that's a fair question, because here's the honest truth. It's a little of both. The roar of the crowd, your shouting, the explosion of motion, all of it hits him at once. But there's another layer underneath, a layer of pure predatory thrill. The exact rush his wild cousins feel the instant the hunt succeeds. That thrill is real. Scientists have studied it. When a cat completes the chase, when instinct says the prey is caught, a flood of chemicals rewards him. Satisfaction, relief, a jolt of something close to joy. So in his own way, by his own ancient measure, that goal is a victory. Not your team's victory, his. The hunt worked. The target fell. And the only thing left to do is celebrate in the only language he knows, his body. So when you laugh at your cat leaping up at a goal, understand what you're really watching. You're watching millions of years of survival compressed into a single joyful burst. You're watching the lion in the grass, the wildcat in the brush, the hunter that has lived inside every house cat since the beginning. He's not copying you. He's answering something far deeper. And we're only beginning to understand how deep it goes. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because if it were only instinct, only the hunt, then your cat would react the same way to a nature documentary, to a video game, to anything with a moving dot. And some cats do, but many don't. Many save their biggest reactions for the moments you care about most. The goals, the near misses, the plays that make you jump. And that, my friend, is not instinct alone. That's something else entirely. That's you. Because your cat, whether you realize it or not, has been studying you far longer than he's been studying that screen. He knows your voice. He knows your moods. He knows the exact sound you make when something good is about to happen. And over months, over years, he's connected those signals to the chaos on the television. So when you lean forward, he leans forward. When your breath catches, his does too. Think about that. Your cat reads you like a book you didn't know you were writing. The tightening of your shoulders before a penalty kick, the way your hand grips the remote, the little intake of breath when the ball nears the goal. He's picked up on all of it, and he uses it. You're not just watching the game together. He's watching the game through you, borrowing your emotions to know when something matters. This is the part that gets people. Because we tend to think of cats as aloof, distant, doing their own thing, indifferent to us. But the truth is so much warmer than that. Your cat is tuned to you on a frequency you can barely detect. He feels the shift in the room before the goal even lands. And when you erupt with joy, he doesn't just hear noise. He feels the change in you. And he responds to it, body and soul. There's a name for this kind of connection. Scientists call it emotional contagion. It's the way feelings pass from one creature to another, without a single word spoken. You've felt it with people. Walk into a room full of laughter and you start to smile. Sit beside someone grieving and your chest grows heavy. Cats feel it too. And after years beside you, your cat has learned to catch your emotions like they were his own. So when that goal hits and you throw your arms in the air, your cat isn't confused. He's swept up. Your joy floods the room, and he rides the wave with you. His leap, his sudden burst of energy, part of it is the hunt. Yes, but part of it is pure connection. He's celebrating because you're celebrating. He's alive in that moment because you're alive in it. And the two of you, for one breath, are feeling the same thing. Let that sink in for a moment. Because we spend so much of our lives feeling like no one quite understands us. We carry our worries quietly. We celebrate our small wins alone. And then there's this small creature, curled beside us, who somehow knows, who feels the rise and fall of our hearts without needing it explained, who jumps when we jump. That's not nothing. That's one of the quietest gifts a cat ever gives. And it goes both ways, which is the beautiful part. Just as your cat reads your joy, you've learned to read his. The flick of his tail, the widening of his eyes, the way he chirps at the screen. Over the years, the two of you have built a language. Not English, not meows, something in between. A shared understanding made of glances and movements and the rhythm of sitting together, day after day, in the same warm room. I think that's why these little moments stay with us. Why a video of a cat reacting to a goal makes us laugh and then, oddly, makes us feel something tender underneath. Because we recognize it. We've lived it. That flash of connection with an animal who, by all logic, shouldn't care about a soccer match at all. And yet there he is, leaping beside us, sharing a joy he was never supposed to understand. So far, we've talked about what your cat sees and how he feels what you feel. But there's a third piece to this puzzle. The loudest piece, actually. Because vision is only part of how a cat experiences a game. His real superpower, the sense that may explain his wildest reactions of all, isn't his eyes at all. It's his ears. And what he hears during a match is a whole different world. Let's go there next. A cat's hearing is almost unbelievable when you really look at it. You and I hear up to about 20,000 cycles per second. A cat hears far higher, into the range we'd call ultrasonic. Those ears swivel independently, each one turning up to 180 degrees, powered by over 30 separate muscles. Ours have 6. They're some of the finest sound instruments in the animal kingdom. Picture what a match does inside his head. The crowd is the first thing. To you, it's a steady wash of noise, a backdrop you barely notice. But a cat can pinpoint where a sound comes from within inches, from several feet away. So that roar isn't a blur to him. It has shape. It has direction. And buried inside it are thousands of tiny shifts your ears smooth right over. When the crowd senses a goal coming, the pitch climbs, and he catches that climb before you do. That's why he sometimes reacts a half second before you. You've seen it, right? He tenses, ears forward, just before the big moment lands. It can feel almost spooky, like he knows what's coming. He doesn't. He's just faster. A cat can locate a sound source in a tiny fraction of a second, the crowd told him. The announcer's rising voice told him. The whole soundscape shifted, and those ears caught the wave a heartbeat ahead of yours. Then there's the whistle. That sharp referee's whistle sits right in the range cats hear best, the high frequencies they evolved to catch. Why high frequencies? Because that's the pitch of a mouse, the squeak of small prey rustling in the grass. For millions of years, survival meant hearing that exact sound. So when that whistle cuts through your living room, it isn't background noise to him. It's an ancient alarm, wired straight into instinct. And the announcer. Oh, the announcer. Studies of animal behavior show that rising pitch and rising volume naturally raise arousal in mammals. It's not a coincidence, it's biology. That voice climbing higher and faster as the ball nears the net pulls your cat upward with it. It tightens his body like a string being wound. And when it finally breaks into that explosive shout at the goal, your cat breaks with it. The sound demands a response. Now layer it together. The swelling crowd, located precisely in space. The whistle, hitting his prey frequencies. The announcer, winding him tighter by the second. And your own voice rising beside him. All of it crashing into a hearing system that outclasses yours by a mile all at once. Is it any wonder he leaps? For one overwhelming second, his entire world is sound, and that sound just detonated. The body answers before the mind can. This is why some cats love watching with you, and some cats run and hide. It comes down to how they handle that flood of sound. The bold ones, the confident ones, they lean into the chaos. They find it thrilling. The chase, the noise, the energy. But the sensitive souls, the gentle ones, sometimes it's just too much. And neither is wrong. It's simply two different cats, hearing the same storm in two very different ways. If your cat is one who hides, by the way, don't take it personally. He's not rejecting you or the game. His ears are just doing their job too well. You can help him, actually. Lower the volume a little. Let him have a quiet corner to retreat to. Watch his body language. Over time, many cats grow more comfortable, learning that the chaos on the screen never actually reaches them. The storm stays inside the box. But for the cat who stays, who watches, who leaps, something remarkable is happening. He's taking in the game through every sense he has at once. The motion in his eyes, the roar in his ears, the emotion radiating off of you. 3 rivers flowing into one moment. And when they all peak together at a goal, the result is that wild, joyful explosion that makes you laugh every single time. Now you know what's behind it. So we've covered the ears and the eyes, 2 senses far sharper than our own, both pointed at the same screen. But there's a question still hanging in the air, isn't there? A question you may have had since the very first block. Does any of this mean your cat actually likes soccer? Or are we just seeing what we want to see? Reading love into a creature chasing a dot? It's time we looked at that honestly. Stay with me. Let's be honest with each other. Your cat does not understand soccer. He doesn't know the rules, doesn't have a team, couldn't explain a corner kick if his dinner depended on it. And here's a fact worth knowing. A cat's brain is small, but it's dense. Cats have roughly twice the neurons in their cerebral cortex that dogs do. He's not dumb. He simply isn't built to grasp our games. But liking something doesn't require understanding it. So what does he actually experience when you watch together? Movement that fires his hunting drive. Sound that floods senses far sharper than yours. And here's the part science is only now confirming. Studies show cats form real attachment bonds with their humans, the same secure attachment pattern we see in infants and in dogs. He may not love soccer, but that warm, electric presence of you beside him, fully alive, that he may very well love. And isn't that the heart of it? We ask whether animals understand our world and forget to ask whether they enjoy being in it with us. Your cat doesn't need the offside rule to feel good against your leg. In fact, research on cat behavior found that many cats prefer human interaction over food when given the choice. Let that land. Over food. He's not a fan of the game. He's a fan of you, in the middle of the thing that lights you up. There's a tenderness here most people miss. We assume our pets just tolerate our hobbies. But watch closely. A cat spends a huge share of his day resting, choosing his spots with care, conserving energy like the predator he is. So when he chooses to spend that precious waking time in the loud, chaotic center of the room beside you, instead of 100 quiet corners, that's not nothing. That's a deliberate choice. And choices mean something. A viewer wrote to me once about her old tomcat, a grump who hated nearly everything. The vacuum, the doorbell, loud guests, all of it sent him bolting. But every weekend, when she put the match on, he climbed up beside her and stayed for the whole thing. Through the roar, the whistles, her shouting at the screen, the one chaos he'd endure. And cats, remember, don't fake comfort. A stressed cat leaves. He chose to stay. Every single time. That story says something true we don't say enough. A cat's affection isn't loud. It hides in small, easy-to-miss signals. The slow blink, which researchers have actually shown, is a genuine sign of trust. A cat's way of saying, "I feel safe with you." The way he tucks his paws in beside you. Where he chooses to sleep. Who he returns to, again and again, when he could be anywhere. Watching the match beside you may be one of those declarations. And here's the thing about us, on the other end of that bond. We need it too, maybe more than we admit. A long-term study of more than 4,000 Americans found that people who had never owned a cat carried a noticeably higher risk of dying from a heart attack than those who had. Researchers think the calm a cat brings, the lowered stress, may be part of why. He isn't just sharing your Sunday. He may be quietly guarding it. That's why these moments hit the way they do. A cat celebrating a goal is funny, sure. We laugh, we share the clip. But underneath is something we recognize. Companionship that asks for nothing. And there's real biology under it. That low rumble of a purr sits between roughly 25 and 150 hertz, a range that overlaps with vibrations studied for easing stress and even healing. That warm feeling beside him isn't only sentiment. So, does your cat like soccer? No, probably not. But does he like the version of you that watches it? The you that comes alive, shouts, laughs, forgets your worries for 90 minutes? I'd bet everything he does. Because cats are remarkably attuned to human emotion. Research shows they can read our facial expressions and tones, behaving differently when we're happy versus upset. He sees that lighter you, and he's drawn to it like sunlight through a window. Now we've gone deep into the why. The senses sharper than ours, the attachment bonds, the chemistry of the purr, the love hiding in small choices. But knowing all this changes something. It means the next time you sit down to watch a match with your cat, you can do something with it. You can make that moment better, for both of you. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Because watching together, it turns out, is a skill too. So how do you turn an ordinary afternoon of watching into something your cat genuinely savors? It starts with paying attention to him the way he pays attention to you. Notice where he likes to sit during a game. Notice the volume he's comfortable with. Notice whether the big roars thrill him or rattle him. These small observations are the foundation. because the goal isn't to make him watch. It's to make him want to. Start with the setup. Give him a perch where he can see the screen but also feel safe. The back of the couch. A cushion beside you. Somewhere elevated because cats love height. Height means safety. Height means he can survey the whole scene like the little hunter he is. When a cat feels secure, he relaxes into the moment. And a relaxed cat is far more likely to engage with the game than a tense one looking for an exit. Watch the volume, especially in the loud moments. You don't need the sound at full blast to enjoy a match, but your cat's ears sure feel the difference. Try keeping it at a level where you can still hear the announcer climb, but the peaks don't pierce. Your cat will thank you by staying longer, leaning in closer, and reacting with excitement instead of fear. The right volume is the difference between a fan and a fugitive. Here's a small trick that works wonders. Talk to him during the game. Not constantly, not in a way that smothers the moment, but a quiet word when the ball moves. A soft "did you see that" when the play gets good. Your voice anchors him. It tells him you're sharing this, that he's part of it, not just near it. Cats crave that inclusion more than we realize. A few gentle words can turn a bystander into a companion. And when the goal finally comes, when you erupt the way we all do, glance at him in that split second. Don't just celebrate at the screen. Celebrate with him. Catch his eye. Let him see your joy aimed, even briefly, in his direction. Because that's the moment the bond gets stamped in. That tiny shared glance at the peak of excitement. He'll remember the feeling, even if he forgets the goal. He always does. Now, a word of caution. Because I care about your cat as much as you do. Don't force it. If he gets up and leaves, let him go. If the noise overwhelms him, respect that. The worst thing you can do is grab him and hold him in place, trying to make him enjoy something his nerves aren't ready for. Connection can't be forced. It can only be offered. Offer the moment, leave the door open, and let him come to it on his own. Some cats take weeks to warm up to game day. Others never quite do, and that's okay too. You're not failing if your cat prefers the quiet bedroom while you watch. He loves you in his own way, on his own terms. But for the cat who does join you, who learns the rhythm of the match, who starts to anticipate the excitement, you're building something. A ritual. A small weekly tradition that belongs to just the two of you. And rituals matter more than we give them credit for. They're the quiet scaffolding of a life. The morning coffee, the evening walk, the Sunday match with a cat on the armrest. These small repeated moments are how we mark time, how we feel rooted, how we know we're home. When your cat becomes part of one of those rituals, he stops being just a pet in the house. He becomes a thread woven through your days. I want you to think about that the next time he hops up beside you. This isn't just a cat watching TV. This is a creature choosing to braid his life into yours, one Sunday at a time. The game is just the excuse. The ball is just the spark. What's really happening on that couch is two very different beings, a human and a hunter, finding a way to be together in a language neither one fully speaks. And it works anyway. We've come a long way, you and I. From that first head tilt at the screen, all the way to the quiet truth of what these moments really mean. And I hope by now you're seeing your cat a little differently. Not as a funny animal who happens to react to goals, but as a companion sharing your world in the only way he can. There's still more to uncover, though, because the story of cats and us goes back further than any soccer match. If you've stayed with me this far, right here near the end of our time together, I want to pause and ask something of you. Take 1 second to subscribe to our channel and join us. We're here every single day, telling these stories about the cats who share our homes and our hearts. If that's something you'd like more of, you belong here with us. Now, let's get back to it, because this next part is one of my favorites. I look at the comments under these videos, and I see so many of you who get it. People who understand that a cat isn't just an animal in the house. He's family. A quiet, furry member of the family who's been there through the hard seasons and the good ones. If that's you, leave a word below and let me know your cat's name. I'd love to picture the little hunter sitting beside you while you watch this. Now, back to the story, because here's something worth sitting with. The bond you have with your cat, that strange and wonderful connection, it didn't start with you. It didn't start with your grandparents either. It reaches back thousands and thousands of years to the very first wildcats who crept toward human firelight and decided on their own terms to stay. No one tamed them. They chose us. And in a way, they're still choosing us every single day. Think about what that means for the cat on your couch. The instinct that makes him pounce at a soccer ball on the screen is the very same instinct that drew his ancestors out of the wild and into our lives. The hunter and the companion were never two different things. They were always one. He chases the ball because he's a predator. He sits beside you afterward because somewhere along the way, his kind chose connection too. That's the quiet miracle most people walk right past. We share our homes with a small, self-possessed predator who could survive perfectly well without us. And yet he stays. He hunts the moving dot on the screen, then turns and rubs his head against your hand. Wild and tame, fierce and gentle, all wrapped in the same warm body curled against your leg. When you really see it, it's almost impossible not to feel a little awe. And maybe that's why his reaction to a goal moves us the way it does. In that single leap, we see the whole arc of it. The ancient hunter, alive and electric, and the modern companion, sharing our joy. Both at once, both in a heartbeat. He's not just celebrating a goal. He's showing us, without knowing it, the entire long history of how cats and humans came to love each other. All compressed into one funny little jump. So the next time your cat goes wild beside you, try to hold both truths at the same time. Yes, it's instinct. Yes, it's senses and sound and the chase. But it's also love, in the only shape a cat can give it. Presence, choice, the decision to be near you in your loudest, happiest moment, when he could be anywhere else. That's the gift hiding inside the laugh. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I think we need these reminders, especially as the years stack up. It's easy to grow a little numb to the small wonders, to stop noticing the cat on the armrest because he's always there. But always there is exactly the point. He shows up. Day after day, game after game, season after season. In a world that changes too fast, he is one of the few constants. And constancy, quiet and unglamorous, is its own kind of love. So tonight, or this weekend, or whenever you next sit down to watch, look over at him. Really look. See the hunter and the friend. See the thousands of years that brought him to your side. See the small, stubborn loyalty in his decision to stay. And maybe, when the goal comes and he leaps up beside you, you won't just laugh. You'll feel that warm thing underneath the laugh. The thing that's been there all along. We're almost to the end now, and I want to bring it all home. Everything we've talked about, the eyes, the ears, the heart, the history, it all points to one simple truth that's been waiting for us this whole time. A truth about your cat, about you, and about the strange and beautiful thing that happens on an ordinary couch during an ordinary game. Stay with me for these last few minutes. This is the part that matters most. Here's the truth I promised you. When your cat watches soccer beside you, the game was never really the point. The ball, the goals, the roar of the crowd, those were just the stage. The real event was always the two of you, sharing a moment across the impossible gap between human and animal. And somehow, against all odds, building a bridge over it. That's what you were watching all along. You just called it watching the game. Think back to where we started. That first head tilt, that flick of the tail. You wondered if he really understood what was happening on the screen. And now you know. He doesn't understand the game, but he understands you. He reads your joy, mirrors your excitement, joins his ancient hunter's heart to your modern Sunday afternoon. He understood the only thing that ever mattered. that this moment was worth being part of. We spent all this time asking what your cat sees, what he hears, what he feels. But maybe the better question was always about us. What do we see when we watch him celebrate beside us? We see proof. Proof that we're not as alone as the quiet house sometimes makes us feel. Proof that a small creature chose us and keeps choosing us every single day. That's what hides inside the laugh. That's what we were really after. Because the laugh is easy. A cat leaping at a goal is funny, and we share it and we move on. But you didn't come here for the laugh. You stayed 45 minutes for something underneath it, for the reassurance that the bond you feel with your cat is real, that it isn't your imagination, that when he jumps up beside you, something true is passing between you. And now you know. It is. It was. It always has been. So the next time the two of you sit down together, and the crowd swells, and the ball streaks toward the net, watch what happens in that little body beside you. Watch him rise. Watch him spring. Watch the hunter and the friend become one creature, alive in your joy. And know that you are not just watching a cat react to a goal. You are watching thousands of years of love arrive, right on time, on your couch. He won't be there forever. None of them are. That's the bittersweet thread running under every one of these moments, and I won't pretend otherwise. The Sundays are numbered for all of us, which is exactly why they matter so much. Why that silly leap at a goal is worth pausing for. Why the cat on the armrest deserves to be truly seen while he's here. Don't let the ordinary days slip past unnoticed. They're the ones you'll miss. So notice him. Notice the way he settles in beside you before the match even starts. Notice the patience in him, the choice in him, the quiet loyalty that asks for nothing in return. Notice the small miracle of being chosen by a creature who didn't have to choose anyone at all. These are the things that fill a life in the end. Not the scores, not the wins. The warm weight of a friend who stayed. If this video meant something to you, do 2 things for me. First, share it with 5 people who love their cats the way you love yours. 5 people who would understand. 5 people who need the reminder that the small companion beside them is something rare and worth treasuring. And second, follow the channel so we can keep meeting here, telling these stories, honoring these quiet bonds that hold so many of our days together. And then, down in the comments, leave me something real, not just a word. Tell me about your cat. Tell me about the Sundays, the leaps, the head tilts, the little ways he's woven himself into your life. And tell me what you want to hear about next, because the next story we tell together could be yours. I read them. I really do. Your cat's name, written by someone who loves him, means more than you know. So go find him now. Wherever he is in your home, sit down beside him. And the next time a goal sends him leaping into the air, don't just laugh. Look at him and remember everything you learned today. The hunter, the friend, the thousands of years, the choice he makes again and again to be right there with you. He celebrates harder than you do. And now, at last, you understand exactly why. He's celebrating you.